Hey guys, Chris Fate with Cheat the Game coming back at you. I wanted to do this vid. I'm still working on the Shadow of the Tomb Raider series, which we will be continuing, by the way. That'll come out later in the week, but right now I wanted to show this. I have a lot of people that ask me about it all the time via encrypted values, things of that nature, and Stronghold Crusaders 2. We're going to be taking a look at the gold value. As you know, that the past on Stronghold Crusaders, you could look up the gold value via a float value and find it with exact value. However, later updates, the devs went ahead and decided to encrypt those values. So now the values are encrypted, so now we got to do it a totally different way. And it is a bigger pain. But that's what we're going to be looking at today. And I would like to thank Bessom F. He has brought this to my attention. We were actually working on this together. He found this value. He found a good compare, and he's done all the work in regards to that. So really this lesson here is thanks to him, and he's every bit as good as I am. He's a great game hacker. And if you go over to his channel, please go to his channel and subscribe. He's got more videos out for Stronghold Crusaders. He's got past versions, but also one he just recently done to show you how to build anywhere, and that's a great lesson via finding flag values, which is based off some of my lessons on CTG. So go take a look at it. It's great stuff. He's really good, and he'll show you how to go about it. And the techniques that he's using for this is a technique that you can apply to just about any game out there. So it's real good stuff. So go take a look at it and go subscribe to his channel. He does have more content coming out very soon, and he is an outstanding game hacker. So my hat's off to you, pal. So thank you for this. So let me go ahead and bring up the game and go ahead and get everything situated, and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, I also want to remind everyone that this lesson is more into the intermediate range. However, we're using basic strategies, so just go ahead and watch it. This is really good stuff. You'll pick it up, and I may end up adding this to the Back to Basics series also. And basically what we're trying to do is find a value, and we need to compare out just like you would health. But the value is encrypted, so it's finding an encrypted value. Now in the past, when you looked up gold, it was on a float value. I'm not going to load my associated table, hang on. It was on a float value, so you could find it with an exact value, but now it's been encrypted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it on 4-byte, and I'll show you in just a minute that, you know, when you search with 4-byte, you're also going to find the float values with it also, and I'll show you what I mean. So let's go ahead and do single player. What I want to do is go over here to Sandbox, and we're just going to use the game's own mechanics to help us out. So when we come over here, we can just kind of build and freely learn the game and everything like that. Hang on one second. There we go. Alright, so right off the bat you see that we have a value of 0. So right off the bat I'm going to go ahead and do an unknown initial value search. Do not put in zeros. As you know, encrypted values, they can jump all over the place. I also recommend that you put in hotkeys. Go to edit settings, and you can come over here to hotkeys, and what I use the most is increase, decrease, changed, and unchanged. I set all those to hotkeys that I know the game is not particularly using. And that's what I'm going to be using. So I'm going to be using hotkeys to do this. And basically with encrypted values, you cannot go increase value and decrease value like you would with other like bar type values, because they just jump all over the place. They could be one high value, the next time a real low value, and a negative value, and whatever. So you have to do the loosest search possible, which means it keeps all directions in here, which is changed and unchanged, and that's what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and see if we can get some money up there so we can go ahead and start our searches. I don't know why my mouse is glitching, but you know, whatever. Alright, so now we're at 500, so I'm going to let it go up just a little bit. And we see the taxes increasing, so we know that the value is changing now. So let's go ahead and do some change values, and we're just doing standard scanning here. Now, as it's still moving, we know that the value is still changing also, so we do not want to hit unchanged yet. What you can do is come over here to your taxes, just double click, let it pop up, and let it go up a couple of notches first just to make sure, and then send it to 0 and wait just a couple of seconds just to make sure it gets cycled through the system. And now we're going to hit changed, and now unchanged. We know that the money value is not going up anymore, and we're just going to go all around the screen. Let me just do everything we can to weed out any values that we can. Even go to the pause menu. Just do everything you can. Now what I want to do is I want to go buy something that I know will make the value change. So I'm going to come over here and buy one of these. And that changed the value, so we'll go change value, and you'll start seeing it weed down fairly quickly. Now we can go unchanged, and we're down about what, 130, 100. Now we can have taxes increasing again. Let the value start counting up again. And look, we hit change value and we're down to 23. So let's go ahead and stop it again. And we're going to hit change value, and that's a good number. We can possibly find it from that. So now we're down to 15, which is good. And let me show you what I was talking about, the float values. Usually when you see these string of numbers that start with 1, these are the decimal versions of a float value. 1, you see 113 here, 108, 107, 108, 108. These are actually float values. If you bring those down to the address list, changing the float, and you take a good look at the top one right here, you'll see that that's actually our gold display. Take a look. These are float values. So yeah, you can still find float values searching for 4-byte. You just need to understand how to recognize them. Usually when you see something starting with a 1, that's going to be a float value when it's that long. And when you see something that has like 4, 9, or whatever in it, that's usually going to be a negative decimal value. Okay? Kind of helps you see what's going on when you're scanning for values and things like that. When you're scanning 4-byte values, you see values like that just don't seem to make sense. You can look at them right away and tell that they're float values. Those are floats. So that's just a little tip, just to throw you away. I'm going to keep the internal value up just for a minute. Now we cannot, that's not the internal, that's the display, I'm sorry. We're going to keep the display up for just a minute. Now we can't use this to change because it's a display value. If I went and changed that, it's not going to do anything, see? And it went back to what it was. So we can go ahead and unchange those. So now we need to find the encrypted value. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to take each one. I'm not going to use these float values. I'm just going to use something that looks encrypted to me. And these right here look like encrypted values. So I'm just going to change each one to something different. This is where you can crash your game a lot. So you can kind of extrapolate where you left off, because you can weed these down somewhat to the same amount again and know what you've done in the past. And all we're looking is for any change to this whatsoever, no matter what it is. It could be some funky negative value for all you know. So I just change a couple of numbers on here and just take a look. Nothing. And here's our last one. So I hope we didn't miss it. So I'm going to change that to like 26 here. And boom, take a look at that. Look at all that gold. So we know this here, that bottom one, is our gold internal value. It is its encrypted value. Right off the bat, what you want to do is go ahead and find out what accesses the address. Get all the places in memory that's actually dealing with that value. Go buy something. Nothing else pops up, so you see right now it's just dealing with that. Go increase your taxes. And nothing else popping up. So they're all just, you know, this is being read, this is being written to, so this, we can tell that EAX is writing the new value right here. So right here we want to go try to find wherever in memory that is being encrypted before it gets to writing to our address. And normally you have to backtrace these things a ways back. Sometimes it could be going through several encryptions before it actually gets to the writing opcode. But in this particular game here, you can see right above it, we got an XOR. EDX and EAX. If I was to replace that code with code that does nothing, eventually you start seeing that value. That 107, if you look, I know it's flipping around a lot, but if you would notice, it would be the same number. So that's the source of the encryption, is right here. And like I say, what I'm trying to do is things that took hours, almost a couple of days to find and do, I'm trying to cram into 30 minutes here. So I got to kind of do this quick. So let's go ahead and restore the original code, and after a lot of trial and error, you figure out that this is where it's being encrypted. EDX is carrying the key. Now, this particular key changes each time you bring up the game or go to a new scenario. EDX is a different value, so you can't really use it as a key. You cannot decrypt it because that encryption is used in other parts of the program, and if you decrypt it, it's just going to screw things up and possibly crash your game. So you need to leave it encrypted. So the only way to really get the value that you want is to change it before it gets encrypted right here. And we see right above it here, this address is writing to EAX, being encrypted. EDX is encrypting EAX, and EAX right here is writing to our address. Okay, so that's what we need to pay attention to. So we want to change EAX. Our value, our goal value, is being written right here. But we do have a problem, and it's a big problem being an encrypted value. This is a base pointer, which is the stack address, the lower part of the stack, and it is the one that is writing to that EAX. These values constantly changed as things are being pushed and popped off the stack, so it's going to be a little difficult to find. So we need to compare out what our goal value is versus our enemies. So it's going to be a little harder to do, so we got to pay attention to the debugger in different ways. So what I want to do is let me save what I got, and we're going to start a skirmish with a bunch of enemies, and we're going to see if we can find a way to separate our guy out from our enemies and go from there. Okay? Alright, so we got our place in memory, so we're good to go as far as that is. Here's where EAX is being written to before it gets encrypted, and then comes down to write to our address. So as long as we have that place, let's go ahead and start a custom skirmish. And I want to change my value already a little differently than my enemies, and let's go ahead and add some enemies, just add some random enemies. Let's go ahead and put the debugger on that opcode. And we really need to pay attention, and this is where it gets a little tedious and tricky and everything like that. So basically I'm going to explain it. I'm not going to really show it all because it would just take forever. But it's basic comparison. You're going to have to go back out of the game, back into the game, do it again, take the game down, bring it back up, do it again and again and again until you get a value that is being constant for you. That separates you out from your enemies. And you're going to find you can't really use a group difference. Okay? A lot of these offsets are changing values a lot. However, there are some values that are the same and enemies are totally different. They're just different from each other also, which doesn't count as a group difference. Okay, a group difference is where you and an ally are one value together and your enemies are all one value together, but you're separate from each other. Okay, one group is separate from the different group. That's what dissect data will show you, and commonalities will show you. But this is a situation where even the enemies are going to be different from one another. You just need to find something that's constant for you but different from all the enemies. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's why it's a lot more work, and it's a lot harder to find that way, because you got to do a lot of trial and error. There's just no getting around it. You got to do a lot of trial and error. But I'm going to give you a good that we had for this particular version, and I will give you a good offset to use in comparison. but I'm just going to show you how I went about it first. So let's go ahead and start the game. Let it assign everybody its gold values and different values. You'll see a bunch of addresses pop up here. Over here's where we're going to be looking. If you look at these are stack addresses, and we're looking for one that's dealing with our guy, our gold, and everything like that. And it's possible that our gold is already up here also for when it assigned us that value, but we don't know which one that is. Okay, we have no clue. And like I say, values are being pushed and popped off the stack, so they're changing. Some are staying the same, but you'll see them all just eventually change. So we need to find something that we can manipulate our gold with that will pop up here that we can use to compare. So right now we just need to play the game and then change our gold value where we control it, not taxes. Okay, you'll see taxes are popping up now, and this is going to start increasing. So, and other addresses are now popping up into the debugger, and we still have no clue. Those are stack addresses. Different values are being pushed onto there and off of there as it goes. So I'm going to stop taxes right now, where it freezes our value, and I'm going to go put something in there that I know we have to pay for. And we really want to pay attention to the debugger here. I haven't laid it down yet. Our gold is still the same. We want to manually change our gold value and see what happens. So take a look. Did you see that address pop up when I bought something? I bought something and a new address popped up here. So we can safely assume that this was assigned due to the fact that we bought something. It needed more room on the stack or whatever for our guy. So now we have a viable address we can separate out from the others. And you can do it many ways. What I recommend doing in this game is that commonalities will only show you EBP and RSP for this. And values are constantly changing. It's a pain. What I recommend doing is do it the old-fashioned way just for this game. And we know this is us. You can go ahead and mark yourself as group 1 just so you can see the difference. Grab you a couple addresses, hold down control, and just mark down 2 or 3 of them, 4 maybe, and mark those as group 2. And I still recommend bringing up and showing the registry states of them. Keep your guy different from the rest of the addresses. And bring these up. And this one over here. And what I do, you can go to commonalities and do it. I'm sorry, let me turn that off. I keep forgetting to do that. Alright, and what I do is I go through each registry and see if the addresses are different. If the addresses are different, ECX we see is, EDX we see there are some common ones. These are sharing a common value. They're all sharing a common value, so EDX is not a good one to use here. ESI, let's see, looks like ESI, some of them are different, but you need that, and that's how tedious this can get. That's how tedious this can get. And so when you go through, I would recommend just bringing up dissect data, open dissect data, like that. Just go ahead and click cancel out of that, and what you'll do is just pick a registry that has different addresses in it. And you may have to do multi-compares. Who knows? Like I say, this is where it separates the good game hackers from the great game hackers. It's how much work you're willing to put into it. Alright? Just stay away from EIP. You can still use ESP with the stack. And, you know, when worse comes to worse, you can still do that. That's no problem. I think you can use... yeah, you can still use EBP. You can use commonalities for that. I believe Betham found one using the EBP registry. And that's the one I'm going to give you with his permission. And I found one using, I believe it was EDX, if I'm not mistaken. No, ESI. I found one using ESI, and the way I do that is you copy register's clipboard. I know that this is my guy. I bring up a notepad. I just paste all the registries, and I paste them for each one. Now I know I'm doing my enemies now. And then I'll go back to my notepad, and so on and so forth, and you can just paste each one of them here, and then I have all my registries, and I'll just go plug in the values of those registries. So if this is ESI, I'm plugging in ESI. Control G, group 2, and then just add addresses with Control A. I'm just going to add a couple of addresses. I should have moved them over to group 2 first. There we go. And then just go plug in the rest of your addresses, and then just do your scans from there. I'm not going to do that. Like I say, this takes a while, and it will take you a while. But if you want some good offsets that we've already found, I'm going to give those to you right now. You can give them a try and see. I cannot make any guarantees on these. No, I don't want to save. And bring up Crusader Kings 2. And I'm just going to put, yeah, merge. Now, this is Bassam's script. He has given his kind permission. You can use EBP plus 2401. Jump if equal to code. That means all the enemies down here are equal to 01. And for mine, you can use the one I found, which is EDI plus A4, comma 1, jump if not equal, which means that the hero was 1 at 84. And you still may need to work with both of those and do a multi-compare later. These have been tested, these have been working, and I played several games all the way through with it completely working just fine, and the enemies are not going up in value. And then there has been some games that, you know, I do that maybe a couple have hit that value, and then I just had to restart the game, and then everything was fine, which leads me to need to do a multi-compare. But they're really hard to find. These values are changing a lot, so that's just going to take more work. Okay, so remember, you can use EDI plus A4 comma 1 for this version, and you can also use EBP plus 2401 jump if equal to code. Make sure you get your conditional jumps right. On mine is jump if not equal to code, and I'll put these in the description for you as well. And for his is jump if equal to code. Those have to be correct. Okay, so to make the code, I'm going to go ahead and use mine for right now. I'm going to use the EDI plus A4. So to write, let's say we did the dissect data and we found that one we want to try out, and we got to try it multiple times to make sure it continues to work. So we know that we've already done this. EDI plus A4 comma 1 jump if not equal to code is one we're going to use. So this is how you write the script. Let me get rid of this, get it out of the way. Alright, let's do an AOB injection. We're going to label this gold 1. And like I said, I'll leave this in the description for you, but CMP and EDI plus A4. And we're going to compare that to 1. Jump if not equal to code. That is very important to get right. And it's not June, it's just jump if not equal. And what I want to do is I want to completely separate my hero from my enemies. And instead of having the base pointer right to my that carrier registry for my guy, I'm just going to put my own float value in there. And you can put in whatever value you want. Alright, assign that to the current cheat table. And you label that gold test. Let's turn it on and let's go try her out. And take a look at ours, and we know it works if nobody else, but as you can see, we do have one other, so we know we need to go and do a multiple compare. So we would need to go see what that is. So EDI plus A4. So that is a good one to start off with. Is A4, I believe, because it's only grabbing maybe a couple of them, and then we can go back in there later and see if we can separate that other out as well. And like I say, it's a lot of trial and error, and you see we're still working on it too, and it just takes a while. But at least you have a way to get infinite gold. And boom, there we go. Let's take a look. And you see we are the only ones that have infinite gold. We can now turn ours off if we want to, just to make sure that no others pass through that, or the value doesn't change, and it can continue to increase, and we can play the rest of this skirmish having tons of gold or whatever. All kind of things you can do with that. I do hope this helped. I want to thank my good friend Bassam F for his kind permission to allow us to do this. This was his lesson. He's worked extremely hard on this game, and he's got all kind of new codes, and he's going to be doing a lot of tuts on this game as well. He's got that new one out on how to place these things anywhere. You see how this is red, and over here it's green. Well, his code will allow you to place that here where it won't here, okay? And he teaches you how to do that, how to find that, and how to go about it, and things like that. So please go take a look at that, and I do hope this helps you out. But as you can see, it does work, and you just got to keep playing with it. Possibly go find a multiple compare, and you can have gold even though it's encrypted. We still found a way around it, so hats off to us. I'll be right back. Alright, thank you guys so much for coming out and supporting Cheat the Game. It really means the world to me. Every time you guys come out here, place comments, put likes on it and everything, it really lets me know that you're getting something out of this, that you're still enjoying the content. Sometimes it gets really frustrating, you know, and you guys keep it worthwhile for me, so it makes it worthwhile for me anyway. And I thank you guys for doing that. I want to go ahead and thank my partners. These guys are the ones that keep Cheat the Game running. And I need to update this list, so if your name is not on there, I promise you it will be on the next one. I will be continuing the Shadow of the Tomb Raider series coming out within the week, so make sure that you keep an eye out for that. Hit that little bell button and you'll be notified as soon as it comes out. And we're going to continue hacking that game and coming up with more stuff we can find. I've also got the new Assassin's Creed that I just recently bought. I'm still playing around with it right now, but we're also going to be doing probably a hacking series in it too. So we're going to have all kind of fun and getting into these games and everything. So let me know. Well, you guys take care. Keep on hacking. Most importantly, please enjoy yourself. That's really what it's all about. You cheat the game, fellas, because believe me, it doesn't mind cheating you. You all take care now.